My bike was in the air, the ground was fast approaching, and in that moment, I was almost certain I was going to die. Bang! Both wheels slammed onto the ground. I felt the full force of the impact from my arms to my legs as the handlebars shook violently and my bike wobbled from left to right. But despite the hard landing, I survived. I didn't even fall over or crash. I have no idea what I did in that moment. In some cases, your vocal pacing should be tailored to match the energy of the subject matter you're talking about. In essence, that's speaking at your normal vocal pace whenever you're setting a scene or describing a person, because not too much is happening in those instances. But then when something exciting starts happening, shortening your sentences, shortening your clauses. Or sometimes you'll need to do the opposite, which is you speak a bit more quickly whenever you're talking about the less important details, and then slowing down to make the key point. But to give you an example of what I'm talking about, let me tell you about my most dangerous motorbike experience here in Taiwan. Now, I want to be clear. I love riding motorbikes, especially here in Taiwan. When riding along the small side roads in the countryside, through the emerald green rice fields, or up in the misty mountains, you can experience some of the most astounding natural beauty in the world. When you ride through the streets and alleyways, you can happen upon small restaurants or street stalls that will give you some of the tastiest snacks you'll ever find. When you're riding a motorbike, you just see so much more than you do when you're driving a car. And me, myself, when I'm on the open road, riding full throttle with all the other riders on the storm, I honestly feel like I can fly. One day, however, I almost did fly. I was riding home from work one day, and the roads were starting to get a bit cluttered with traffic, as is common in this city. Wanting to avoid the myriad of traffic lights along Roosevelt Road and Beixin Road, I decided to ride along the west bank of the Danshui River on Huanhe Road. There's a point on that road where you go through a tunnel, and you can just blast from Yonghe to Ankang like rolly free. Just before you get to that stretch, however, there's a couple more traffic lights on Huanhe Road that you gotta wait at first. Alas, I'm an impatient bastard when it comes to life in general, but traffic lights in particular. And I hate being stuck behind slow starters when the light turns green. I normally try to get to the very front row, so that when the light turns green I can just go, without waiting. So you can imagine my frustration when I found myself boxed in by someone on my front, someone on my left, and someone at my rear. 3 rows of these people. The seconds counted down. The light turned green, and we all took off. But the others were not going at my preferred speed. I got too close to the guys in front. Meanwhile, someone on my left was getting too close to me. I should have braked in that moment, but I veered right instead. Big mistake. I suddenly found myself riding up the ramp of a pavement curb. I must have been 10 centimeters off the ground at least. There was nothing I could do to stop what was coming. Fast approaching was the end of the ramp, and possibly the end of my life. There was nothing I could do to stop what was coming. My bike was in the air, the ground was fast approaching, and in that moment, I was almost certain I was going to die. Bang! Both wheels slammed onto the ground. I felt the full force of the impact from my arms to my legs as the handlebars shook violently and my bike wobbled from left to right. But despite the hard landing, I survived. I didn't even fall over or crash. I have no idea what I did in that moment. Maybe I just avoided the brakes. Maybe I pulled the throttle unconsciously. Somehow my reflexes saved me and the bike drifted gently to the next traffic light. Now, make no mistake here, I was fucking terrified, okay? Eyes wide open, body clenched, back arched like a startled cat. But I was alive. I felt like I'd been let off with a warning from the angel of death. I learned my lesson that day, though. Patience is a virtue. And so is good suspension. And I went to bed that night with a newfound respect for the stuntmen of this earth. God bless them. Throughout that story, I utilized the mountain structure. I used powerful words, similes, and metaphors. I varied my tone, I varied my pacing, I varied my pitch, and I spoke from the heart. I even used those punctuation marks that I mentioned earlier. Rewind this video and see if you can spot them all.